Hello everyone, it's me Pratima. So the OnePlus Nord 3 is finally here. I have been using it just over a week now and I believe this is one of the most well-balanced mid-range phones you can get at the moment. Its price starts at 34,000 or some 450 euros for the base 8/128GB variant, and although this price segment is full of some good phones like the Galaxy A54, the Poco F5 and the Moto Edge 4T, all of them compromise in one way or the other. But with the Nord 3, OnePlus has nailed it at almost everything. There are some aspects of the camera that OnePlus needs to fix with an update or two, but other than that, it's a stellar package overall. Okay, the first thing that I really like about this phone is how simple its design is. I have this matte black color option and it looks plain yet elegant. You can also go with the misty green variant, which has a glossy back but is equally good looking too. Here you get Gorilla Glass 5 protection at the back, while its display gets a Dragon Trail glass. OnePlus has also included an official IP54 dust and splash resistance for the first time in the Nord lineup. The IP54 rating basically means it can protect this phone from water splashes from any direction for around 5 to 10 minutes, and this has definitely come in handy for me during this monsoon season. Likewise, I like these flat frames with subtle curves at the back, which offers a nice grip, but more importantly, I like the overall heft of the phone. In fact, it has a much better hands-on feel than the more expensive OnePlus 11R. The weight here is also evenly distributed, so I had no problems using it with one hand for long minutes. The power button is also easily reachable with the thumb, although I would have liked it more if this alert slider was located a bit lower. I'm also surprised to see an IR blaster on a OnePlus phone, which means that you can use the Nord 3 as a remote controller too. Up front, the bezels, as you can see, are quite minimal and uniform. In fact, they are on par with something like the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Plus, you also don't get a curved display like we saw on the OnePlus 11R, which I'm not a big fan of. This one here is a flat panel, so I do not have any accidental touches when typing or playing games. Talking about the core quality of the display, it's actually quite good. Well, not flagship level good, but this AMOLED screen has everything from a 120Hz refresh rate to higher pixel density, 10-bit colors, and a fast touch sampling rate. I'm using the phone in the default vivid mode, which produces a slightly punchy color output, but yeah, you can also go with the other modes and even change the color temperature with a slider. And this is also an HDR certified display, and on my test, I had no problems watching HDR content on OTT platforms like Netflix and Prime Video. Likewise, interacting with the screen has been an absolute treat. The touch here is quite responsive, the vibration feedback is probably the best in the segment, and there are no weird stutters in the UI too. But I would suggest you use the phone in the high refresh rate mode, as that one's more optimized. The UI and most of the apps always blast 120Hz here. Chrome runs at 90Hz and videos at 60Hz. Although it never hit the advertised 40Hz refresh rate in any of my tests. I also found the brightness of this display to be plenty reliable. OnePlus says it can reach up to 14-15 nits at max, but that's only while watching HDR videos, whereas in SDR content with auto brightness mode on, it can still reach an impressive 1100 nits, and I found it to be bright enough to look at the screen in direct sunlight too. On the opposite end, the OnePlus Nord 3's minimum brightness is also quite low, while its auto brightness sensor works perfectly fine. The in-display fingerprint sensor here is pretty fast as well, so overall you will love the display experience on this one. The stereo speakers on the OnePlus Nord 3 are also excellent for the price. It has Dolby Atmos support, and the audio here can get really loud with good treble. The vocals sound clear and there is some hint of bass as well. But the biggest improvement on the OnePlus Nord 3 has got to be in the performance aspect. Here you get a much more powerful Dimensity 9000 chipset this time, along with LPDDR5X RAM and UFS 3.1 storage. Which means compared to the last gen Nord 2 and 2T, the performance jump here is quite huge, both in terms of CPU and GPU. As a result, everything here feels fast and smooth, multitasking is excellent, and it almost feels like you are using a flagship phone. That being said, you can get faster phones like the iQOO Neo 7 Pro with the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chip at a similar price bracket, but what OnePlus offers is a much cleaner and easy to use UI experience with no bloatware apps, and you will just love using this phone. OnePlus is also promising 3 generations of OS and 4 years of security patches on this thing, so that is quite good as well. Now, coming back to the performance, the Dimensity 9000 chip here can get slightly hotter, but it does not throttle the performance, nor it has any kind of overheating issue. But yes, if you're using mobile data and doing some high CPU usage tasks, it does get a bit warmer than other phones like, say, the Galaxy A54. Anyway, talking about gaming, you do have an option of 90 FPS in PUBG Mobile, and the gameplay is quite enjoyable. It does not reach 90 FPS but hovers at around 82 FPS, and I found this issue with almost every game that I tested. For instance, Genshin Impact at 30 FPS mode only reaches 27 FPS on average, while Call of Duty and Asphalt 9 are capped at 55 FPS. But this should get optimized with an update, so I am not worried all that much. Likewise, high refresh rate games like Injustice 2 and Mech Arena cannot be played at a smooth 120 FPS and run at 30 and 60 FPS respectively. That being said, all of these games have no lags and achieve almost 100% FPS stability. Okay, let's get into the cameras now. And this is one area where I feel like OnePlus still has a lot of work to do to improve the Nord 3's overall camera prowess. It features the same Sony IMX890 sensor as the more expensive OnePlus 11R and the OnePlus 11, but I found it to be lacking in terms of overall consistency. Most of the photos that I clicked from the Nord 3 are a bit more vibrant, which kind of works in OnePlus's favor sometimes, but when I am clicking photos of greenery, for example, it looks quite unnatural. Similarly, in this photo of the stupa, I feel like the shadows could have been better preserved. And there are some instances where the Nord 3 could do better with the whites too. Portraits are also hit or miss. Sometimes it produces good-looking shots with nice background separation and focus, but sometimes it makes the skin look a bit dark and contrasty. The low-light images, on the other hand, are quite nice. Although it's a bit less sharp and noisier than the OnePlus 11R, most of the time I'm getting pleasing output, especially while turning on the night mode. However, I am extremely disappointed to see a very average ultra-wide-angle camera here. Just look at this ultra-wide-angle nighttime shot that I took. It's just so bad in so many ways. And even under good lighting conditions, the results I am getting here are quite average. Selfies come out nice most of the time, but it does tend to turn the subject's skin soft and pinkish in some situations. So yeah, again, I think some form of consistency is definitely lacking here. OnePlus is also not offering anything extraordinary in terms of videography. Yeah, it can record up to 4K 60 FPS from the primary camera, but OnePlus is only offering stabilization in 1080p 30 and 60 FPS videos, but not in 4K for some reason. And not just that, the overall quality is subpar too. It's a bit darker and there's some over sharpening going on here. The ultra-wide videos are also substandard as it has very less details, no autofocus, and is capped out at 1080p 30 FPS. Plus, OnePlus also does not let you switch between lenses while recording the video. Okay, so in terms of the selfie video, you're limited to 1080p 30 FPS only, which is a bummer for a phone in this price range. The subject's skin tone looks good and the background exposure is also maintained well, but at the same time there's no stabilization and the background noise separation is not good. So overall, pretty average video capabilities from the selfie camera. Lastly, the battery life I'm getting on the OnePlus Nord 3 is decent. It's nothing extraordinary like the Galaxy S23 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but it should last you for an entire day if you're not a heavy user. And even if you are, you can quickly charge the phone with the 80-watt adapter in about 35 minutes. Okay, let's conclude this video. Like I said in the very beginning, I think the OnePlus Nord 3 has positioned itself quite well by offering balanced specs for around 34,000 rupees in India. The only aspect I find this phone could do better is of course the cameras, but I expect the company to roll out a few updates to optimize it in the coming days, just like they did with the OnePlus 11R. But other than that, it manages to impress me with everything else. I really like its design. Its multimedia experience is superb. You get a flagship-like user experience with fast performance, nice haptics, and up to Android 16 OS updates. So overall, the OnePlus Nord 3 is somewhere at the top of my ranking in the best mid-range phones for 2023. So everyone, that is all for my full review of the newly launched OnePlus Nord 3. So which comparison would you like to see next? Nord 3 versus A54, or Nord 3 versus OnePlus 11R, or Nord 3 versus Moto Edge 40, or Nord 3 versus Iconia 7 Pro? Do let me know in the comments. By the way, this review unit was provided to us by OnePlus, and no editorial input from the company or our affiliate partner Amazon has been there in this review whatsoever. This unit will be returned after the review is over. So yeah, saying this, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching.